think my boyfriend has been secretly drugging me for a while now and is gaslighting me. I know this is going to be hard to explain, but I have been having gaps in my memory that I have been putting off as being tired, overworked, or whatever else. I was going to ask my boyfriend about it, since he is a doctor, but then I started to notice one chilling thing. This seems to happen when I go on dates with him. I know it must sound crazy, but I have woken up with dry sperm on my chest several times with no memory of the night before. I know it's him. The first time it happened was when we were drinking and I wrote it off as too much to drink. But then there were a few times when I know we were not drinking. I decided to break up with him over it, only to suddenly find myself on a date with him a few days later. I had not yet had the conversation to break up with him, but planned on having it the next time I talked with him. I remember being at the restaurant, but nothing before that. Both of our cars were in the parking lot too, so I was confused. I decided to play along when he asked me to come back to his place. After 3 days at his place, I stopped having gaps in my memory, so I was starting to trust him again. I started to ask him about my memory issues, but he cut me off and randomly pointed to these red bumps on my thigh and said that I should be treating those sores. I had completely forgotten they were there. These little red bumps that look like needle injections that got infected. I got so freaked out that he mentioned them that I decided to leave. The next day he came over to check on me, and I remember waking up in bed with no memories. Then today he met me for lunch, saying we had already agreed to meet. I never agreed to meet with him and would never want to now. He does this all the time, saying we agreed to do something I have no memory of. I am sick and tired of it and want him punished. This has started to affect my work life as well, as I start to get paranoid when I see my boss walk into a room after making eye contact with me. I get paranoid that they are about to fire me. My friends also state I have been acting strangely and out of character. I have even begun to lose sleep and sleepwalk when I do. Is there a way to have blood work done to see what kind of drug he is using on me? My life is becoming a living nightmare.
I've seen a lot in my time. Met all sorts of characters, had some wild experiences. This story I'm about to tell you though, well, it's one that sticks with me, one of those tales that you think only happens in the movies until it happens to you. There was this woman I was seeing. Let's call her Sally. She was a smart one and could talk your ear off about anything under the sun. But she also had a lot of problems up top, a real grab bag of issues that could twist even the simplest conversations into something complex and draining. Now here's where things get weird. Sally was dead sure that I was cheating on her. For the record, I never did. But as it turns out, she was the one messing around behind my back. Guilt's a funny thing, isn't it? Makes people see things that ain't there. We fought about it, of course. One day, the argument got so bad she left the room in a huff. She came back holding a bundle of clothes. But among the fabric, there was a glint of something sharp. It was a knife, clear as day. Now, I'm no stranger to trouble. Been in my fair share of scraps, knife fights, even dodged bullets a couple of times. Can't say I've ever enjoyed it though. So, when I saw her walking towards me with that blade, my heart skipped a beat. She raised the knife high, and then she came at me. But I dodged, and she ended up stabbing herself in the hip. She dropped the knife right away. I laid her down, got the knife out of the way, and did my best to patch her up before we had to rush her to the hospital to get stitched up. I wish I could say that was the last I saw of Sally. But nope. She was on my case for the next 6 months, constantly showing up when I least expected it, like a bad penny. Later on, I found out she had quite the rap sheet. Shot a guy she was with once, right in the stomach. And there were 3 guys doing time because she'd accused them of something they didn't do. Makes you realize just how many kinds of people there are out there. So, there you have it. Life's taught me a lot of lessons, and Sally was one of them. Just goes to show you never really know what's going on inside someone's head. You can meet all kinds of people in this world, some good, some bad, and some, like Sally, who are a bit of both and then some. And each one, they leave their mark on you and shape you in ways you don't even realize until much later. It really makes you think, doesn't it? I recently escaped from a 2-year relationship with a sociopathic narcissist. She was borderline crazy and got jealous and often violent when she drank, which was often. Just to paint a picture, here are a few things she did to me. One time she poured boiling hot water over my head while I was sleeping. I spent 6 days in the burn unit ICU. She hit me in the head with a baseball bat while I was sleeping. I had to get 5 stitches. She somehow managed to get banned from virtually every place I lived in, both bars I went to. It only took her 20 minutes at one of them, and got me evicted from at least 2 places with her actions. Why I went back to her after all this, I have no idea. I certainly shouldn't have. My entire family and best friend even disowned me as long as I stayed with her. One time she took $4,500 out of my bank account while I was in jail, leaving me with $1.35. Don't even ask why I was stupid enough to add her to my account. She called the police at least 8 times claiming I was beating her. I don't beat women and had never even been accused of it, let alone arrested for it. This has caused me so many problems that I am still dealing with, including 3 months in jail. This occurred after I had already given her $1,000 to rent an apartment, telling her I would need to stay there for a few days until a big check I was expecting came in. She told me I had to leave at 2 in the morning a couple of nights later, and as I was leaving, as requested, she called the police and complained that I was harassing her. This, combined with a statement and complaint she had made when she had gone to the hospital several months earlier to detox, something she did at least 6 times during our relationship, accused me in great detail of beating her and sending her to the hospital, landing me in jail. When I was released, I finally decided enough is enough and disappeared from her life. She had emptied my bank account again, so no bail for me, as it was $2,500 I would never see again. I ended up pleading to a misdemeanor and waited for sentencing to get out. I wrote a letter to the judge with her written statement and multiple documents, a letter from a cabbie who picked her up, hospital intake records with the time, various police statements, etc., showing that her written statement was completely false. Literally from the opening sentence. I think the judge was the only one that believed me, as she had me released ASAP and dropped all other charges and punishment, except for a short term of probation required by law in this state. Unfortunately, I now have several permanent blots on an otherwise clean record, with the added stigma of a DV conviction. She no longer knows my phone number or where I currently live. I saw her once recently in the library when she sent someone over to tell me she wanted to talk to me, and when I saw her I picked up and left. The cabbie is a mutual friend of ours and told me she has been going off the deep end with her drinking to the point of several recent evictions, but I won't save her anymore. I guess God only gives you experiences that you can survive and learn from. This was certainly one of them. The last time I saw her, she was yelling at me from across the street. I just ignored her. Life is crazy. Or is it just me?